You're listening to the Savoir Faire audio experience.
Are you ready?
The Savoir Faire experience is your guide to everything that has to do with lifestyle. From dating, rides, style, and entertainment. All brought to you by the editor of Savoir Faire magazine, Robert White. Anything goes on this audio experience. So, let's go.
It's still the best.
Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Savoir Faire podcast. I'm super excited about today's guest. We're doing another phone interview, and this one comes all the way from New York City. Maria Montemurro is an event coordinator there. She also is in the real estate industry, and she's really a good friend and a client of mine. And you know, we've known each other for a long time, so I wanted to bring her on and just talk a little bit, get to know Tia a little bit more, and talk about some of the things she has coming up in New York City and the surrounding area. So, Tia, are you on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Beautiful. How is your day going?
My day is going great.
Good to hear.
All I've been doing all day is on phone call, making phone calls all day long.
Just preparing for events that are coming up in the future.
Yes.
Awesome.
I said, good thing I am my own boss. Otherwise, I probably would get fired because I've been on the phone all day.
Well, you've been on the phone with business, so even if you did have a boss, I'm sure he's cool with it. Yes. So I want to go back a little bit, and we're going to start from the beginning. The Tia Maria Montemurro story. Give me a little bit of your childhood history. Like, where did you grow up? You know, how many siblings do you have? Give me a little bit about your family life.
Well, I grew up in the Bronx, in Throgs Neck, and I have 2 sisters and 1 brother. And I had a great childhood. I mean, I had amazing parents. I adored my dad. I was definitely daddy's little girl. And I did very well in school. I went to all private and Catholic schools. And when I was in high school, back then we really weren't into college too much. It was more trade school, secretarial school, those type of things. And
Okay.
I myself, instead of going to college, I went from graduation day to a week later, and I had opened up my own clothing store.
Oh, very
which
nice.
was located at Westchester Square. And then I opened about 5 months later. I was doing so well, I opened up another store on Morris Park. And those were both in the Bronx, and I was 18 years old running 2 clothing stores. The
That's
names
what's
of
up,
the
man.
Clothing stores was Tia's Clothing Outlet.
I love that. That's awesome.
I had an amazing childhood, and just a great business aspect of life because my family always owned their own businesses, as they do today.
Okay, cool.
So I was very fortunate.
So you
growing
grew up in an entrepreneurial kind of family where
Yes, I did.
going out and getting your own business started instead of going to college was kind of the thing, right?
Well, you know what? So it's funny. If people watch Sebastian Maniscalco, who's a comedian, he phrases it perfect. When you grow up in an Italian family, back in the day, and we're talking, 40 years ago, that's what you were supposed to do. You either worked in your family's business, you opened up your own business, or you took over your father's business. And it's funny, Sebastian Maniscalco says that his father, when he was at the age of 8, he went in his room and he said, "Get up and go start a business." And he goes, "Dad, I'm only 8 years old." So that's what the Italians did back then when I was growing up. So it wasn't something unusual. It was just something that we did.
Oh, very cool. So it was a very you think it's like a history kind of thing? Like that's just what Italians do? We just start businesses, they're just hardworking from the get-go?
Absolutely. You know what it is? We see our parents working in their own businesses, getting up early, coming home late, bringing the paperwork home, doing the payrolls at home, counting the money. You see all that. You don't see, it was very rare. I'm going according to my family and the people that I grew up.
Right.
A lot of the times, you wouldn't see a dad very rarely work 9 to 5, and then he'd be home at 5 o'clock. In my household, my dad owned a restaurant, and he would be home in the daytime, and then at 4 o'clock he would be off to the restaurant and wouldn't get home until very late at night.
Wow.
And it was cute, because I recall when I was young, like 6 years old to like 10 years old, I would wait in bed and wait for my father to come in. He'd get in about 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m. From the restaurant, and he would sit at the table, put the lights on. My mother had prepared him a dinner, and then she would get up and give him his dinner at 2 a.m. and I would go climb on his chair. And back then, my father was bald on top, and he had hair around the sides.
Okay.
I used to put pigtails in his hair.
Oh, that's adorable.
And I used to comb his hair and put like all little rubber bands all around it. And I grew up like that. So I was 10.
But you were middle school student at that time, right? Or in school, so you go to school all day long.
Middle school, thank goodness.
Oh,
I did that as a child.
But you were in school all day long. When you came home from school, Dad was off to the restaurant.
Yes.
And he would be gone all night long. So that 2 a.m. kind of, Dad's home, everyone just got up and took care of Dad for a little bit.
Not everyone, just myself. Just
you.
I was the little one.
Oh, perfect.
And I got up and did. Everybody else was sleeping. And I always remembered that. So that was my time with my dad, 2 a.m.
Very cool.
As I was going to school, it stopped, you know what I mean? Because I would sleep through and get up, the next day to go to school. And then when I would come home back then, we got dismissed at 2 a.m., 2 p.m. So I was able to see my dad from 2 to 4.
Oh, nice.
And that was it. He wasn't around at night.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, but hardworking, though.
What's that?
But hardworking. He was hardworking.
Very hardworking, yes.
So there's you, 2 sisters, and a brother. So there's 4 kids at home, plus his wife. What did your mom do?
Back then, moms didn't work.
Moms were just at home taking care of the kids.
The household. Mom did the cooking, and back then my mother did all the paperwork. So she would stay. I remember them. I remember at the table. They would come home, and they would, when my dad came home, he'd bring all the money, and they had to do the credit cards back then. And they didn't do it like they do now. They deposit it right into your account. Back then, we had the carbon. We had to do the
slips and stuff.
Rip the carbons out, send it in, fill it out. So it was very different back then. So my mom was an at-home mom.
Okay, very cool. Well, they did a great job. I mean, you turned out amazing. I know your sister and I know your brother, and they're great success.
People.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Unfortunately, I hate to say it because I hate when my kids hear it, but none of us went to college.
But it's not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I went to college for a year and a half, and I dropped out. And for the last 6 years, I've been self-employed, and I love every minute of it. I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, that's a big piece for people that are younger that may hear this. Is it's okay that you don't go to college and you start your own business or try to take a whack at starting a future for yourself that way.
Right.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. And trade schools are huge right now. A lot of people are going to trade schools more than they are going to college. So that's not a bad thing.
I look at some of the girls, and I look at them and I see they're going to college, and I said, these girls. Some of the ones that I'm around, and sometimes I even include my daughter, they're going to these expensive colleges, and you know what their forte is? Hair, makeup, aesthetics. These girls you could see would be amazing cutting hair, being a hairstylist, or being a cosmetologist. It's not like it was years ago that back then it was like, not all hairdressers did well. Nowadays, hairdressers, they do fabulous aesthetics. Being an esthetician, going to school for 6 months, spending $10,000, then you coming out, they can make up to $150,000 a year.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you're going to go to a college 4 years, come out. A lot of people do come out with student loans, maybe, $50,000 to $100,000 that they owe out. And then they decide, maybe I'm going to go to esthetician school or be a personal trainer or do something that I really like.
And spend all that money on college and never use the degree. If they complete
loan. You could have got a business loan and opens up a store on Park Avenue.
Yep, exactly.
You know, so I'm really, when it comes to college, I guess I'm taking my own experience, and a lot of people that I affiliate that didn't go to college and that are doing so well in life right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know a lot of really successful entrepreneurs have it in their story that they didn't go to college, but they're still extremely successful. A lot of them millionaires and even billionaires. There was someone that just kind of popped in my brain. I can't remember who.
The Kardashians, look at them.
Well, yeah, there you go. Billionaires and millionaires, and I mean, it's just wild stuff.
They come from a family that empowers them and inspires them and encourages them. And I liked what the mother, Kris Jenner, what she had said. I think Kylie had wanted to start up a makeup business, and she said, I had money saved for her from all of her birthdays and graduations and all that. It was her own money. I told her, I'm going to give you your own money. You do whatever you want with it as far as starting a business. Right. So she said, I didn't give her the money. That was hers. And she turned it into an empire.
Yeah. And it's amazing.
At such a young age.
And she's not even 25 yet, and she's a billionaire.
And you know,
incredible.
If you watch her, I follow her on Instagram, and I follow her, even on the shows. She's a good mother. She's a great business person. She's such a humble, good kid. You know, she really is. She should be really proud of all of her children.
No, I totally agree. Very cool. I like the idea that you came from that big entrepreneurial family, which is really unique. You talked about having your own fashion store when you were 18. Mm-hmm. So let's jump into that fashion category a little bit. Tell me a little bit about Tia Maria Montemurro's fashion then, and then talk to me a little bit about fashion now.
Well, back then, like I said, I was about 18 till about 23 years old. I had my own clothing stores, Tia's Clothing Outlet, and I had all types of sportswear. Okay. Some novelty pieces too, and a lot of my customers were based from the Bronx, and I still am friends with those customers today. Some of my friends are still my friends, and some of them are my customers, because it's like 20 years later, I got back into the fashion world, where right now I'm doing jewelry. Okay, and I sell some accessories and some clothing. Now, everyone wants me to open up a store now, and I think I would do really well if I had a clothing store of my own right now. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to be a slave to retail. I don't want to... and it sounds terrible. I mean, I would love to do that. I'm a little fearful because I know it's involved in having your own store.
It's a lot of work.
Store, people are coming there to see you. If you're not there, it's not the same. So I don't know if I want to, I'm getting a little older now, and I'm at a point where I'm financially able to enjoy myself and not have to work so hard. And I really don't want to buy myself a job. But I will have a clothing store. It's just, as of right now, it's not now. I don't know. I could change my mind next month. I can change it in 6 months or a year. Right. Who knows? My daughter's in Arizona finishing up college. Once she's finished, she wants to go to California, but who knows, after she goes to California, she might want to come back to New York. Her and I might open up a clothing store together. And at least I know that she's young. She could hold the fort, you know?
Exactly, right.
So it would be ours together. That one, I would do that in a heartbeat. But to do one right now on my own, like I said, I don't think I want to buy myself a job right now. So what I do is I created the expos, the shopping expos, where I have all my merchandise displayed. I get to, interact with everybody, socialize. I love sales. And I do that. I get the expos. I have them every couple of months, and we're doing fabulous with that. And right now,
that's perfect.
It's only that one time that I have to be there out of the 3 months.
Exactly. So you still get to do the retail part of it, be involved in the fashion, but you get to do it on your schedule.
Exactly.
Which is so nice, yeah. And people still show up to see you. I mean, it's still one of those things. They still come in swoons to come check out your stuff and see your fashion stuff. So that's perfect. Very cool.
And I love that. I love dressing people. I love, people wearing my jewelry and looking fabulous. I love that.
Very cool. So I know a little bit about some of your business world that other people don't know about. So I know you're kind of involved in the real estate industry.
Yes.
What's your role in that? And tell me a little bit about what you've been doing for the last 25 years now.
Oh boy, 25 years.
Has it been that long?
Well, my family owns real estate in New York City.
Okay.
And we have a few buildings that I manage all the properties. And
Okay.
I've been doing that for 27 years.
Wow.
Now. I am the one that's in charge of running everything. It's basically buildings, residential and commercial buildings that are located. We have one where my office is located, which is on Central Park West.
Okay.
And they
Which
are
I've been to, by the way.
What's that?
I have been
Yeah.
there. That's an incredible building. It's got an amazing
You've had the pleasure
courtyard.
of
It's so
staying at one of
nice.
my apartments.
Yep.
I have my office is in that one, and I go there probably like twice a week, and I take care of all and if there's any problems in the building, the rentals of the apartments, the construction, the remodeling, just the maintenance, the everyday maintenance of and management of the buildings. And I have to say, I've been very successful the past 27 years to having 100% rental collections. And I'm really proud of that.
That's amazing.
Because it's very hard to keep on people to pay rent.
Yeah.
And I am a bit annoying and abrasive if you don't pay your rent. So I think that my tenants got to know how I am if you don't pay, and they fear that, and they actually pay before the first of the month.
Amazing.
So I have
got them all in shape.
I have a really good record. Like, I would be amazing if I was on the market, as far as if I was a management company for other buildings.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't work for anybody else. I am a boss. I am a delegator. I cannot take any directions or demands from anybody else. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that I am in the position that I am the boss in my family's business, and everybody makes money because of me. So
yeah,
it's a good thing for everybody.
So the family business went from the restaurant industry into the real estate industry?
Well, no, my dad always had the real estate.
Okay.
Since he was, 50, this is 50 years ago. And at one time when my dad was about 51 years old, he had sold the restaurant, and he didn't want to do anything. When he was 51, all he wanted to do was play with the stock market. And I remember he called me in, and I was married at the time, and he sat me down and he said, "I'm giving you the keys to the buildings. You run them." And I was like, "Dad, I don't know anything about the real estate industry." He said, "Well, learn." And I did. He gave it to me, and that was 27 years ago, and I learned everything about rent stabilization, about everything else, with the building departments, the laws, and everything. And here I am today, like I said, 100% collections. And I'm proud to say that, because that's very hard for a landlord to say, you didn't get beat, or you have tenants that are 2 months behind, 5 months behind, or I'm in court. I never went to court.
That's awesome.
For any of my tenants.
You feel like you just screen people really, really well to make sure they're going to be good people before they come in?
You know what it is? I think that I'm really firm, and if I fear, or if I feel like somebody is like, if they go behind 1 month, just let's say if there was 1 month, I jump on my attorney right away. I start eviction. This is not a homeless shelter. If you lost your job, you move out. I won't hold you to your lease.
That's true.
You can't stay here without a job. And I'm very fortunate that, I guess you're right in a way. It's not even screening, because a lot of the people that are in my building are actually friends, children, or people that I know, that said, "I have a friend that's looking for an apartment. I have a daughter that's looking. My sister's looking for an apartment. My brother."
Okay.
that's why it's really through referrals. So I don't know if it's screening, but it's actually referrals that are in there.
Well, it's people that it sounds like they honor the friendship or the connection they have with you. And if they're bringing their family or themselves or renting from you, then they're really making sure they're honoring that situation as best they possibly can. Like, they're just not going to be behind. It kind of makes sense, too.
You know how I look at it, Robert? You know how I look at it? If you referred me somebody in that building and they didn't pay the rent, I'm coming after you.
Right. Like,
so I know
come get your daughter out of my apartment before I call my lawyer.
That's not going to have a problem. Like, just want to hear something funny, you'll laugh at this one. My gynecologist that I have for 35 years, her son has been looking to get in my building for the past 3 years. I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
It was always that he was available to get an apartment, and I didn't have any vacancies. Just recently, the past month, he wrote to me. He said, do you have any vacancy? And believe it or not, I had a vacancy November 1st.
Wow.
He moved right in.
That's awesome.
So I have my gynecologist's son in my building right now.
Oh, very cool.
So now I know if this kid doesn't, if he doesn't pay, I still go to her. She still looks at my vagina, I'll be like, hey, honey, you owe me rent,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's so it just, everything works out.
That's awesome. I mean, that's cool that you have that uniqueness there too. I mean, it's a market that I'm considering, so I'm definitely going to talk to you more about that because I am looking to buy some real estate in the near future, and it's going to be rental property. So I'm going to have to be dealing with tenants and going through all that stuff, making sure things are up to par. But I think it's very cool. I
always feel my best suggestion to you, don't buy somebody else's headache.
Yeah, right.
Just if you could get something vacant, or you could get something that's up and running, and all tenants are good quality people, then okay.
Yep.
But to get something that's like, that's Section 8,
like it's going to be a project.
Oh my God, or a headache that is somebody's mother pays their rent, and it's too much drama. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
So don't buy somebody else's headaches. That would be my best advice to you.
Okay, perfect. And it's good advice for everybody. Yeah, don't buy people's headaches. It makes sense.
No.
It should be a quote. It's a Tia Maria quote. We're going to put that on the video.
That's right.
Perfect. All right, very cool. So from childhood to fashion, now in the real estate industry, and then all of a sudden, a few years ago, Tia makes a mark in event coordinating. I was trying to kick back to remember how long we've known each other. It's been 6 years, and I remember this because I launched my talent agency in 2013, end of 2013. And then beginning of 14, I got a scout who was a friend of yours from New York City, and she said, you need to come down to this event. You got to meet Tia. You need to check everything out. This is the first time I was in White Plains at the Coliseum, or even...
Who was that?
That was, oh my gosh, why can't I think of her name?
Grace?
Nope, it was the makeup artist.
Jamie?
Was it Jamie? No, the other makeup artist. Katrina?
Oh, Katrina.
It's been so long, I haven't talked to her in forever.
We don't talk to each other. She blocked me.
Well, so it was her that was telling me to come down and check everything out.
Really? I don't even think I know her that long. Was it her?
Yeah, at least that. Yeah, it's definitely been that long.
Wow.
So, yeah, I remember coming down, and I remember walking into the Coliseum and seeing this place looking like $1 million. Like, it was decorated to the nines. Everything was super cool. I think it was there for maybe like a pre-Christmas party. So before Halloween, it was something else before Halloween that you did there. And it was in that year, 2014. So that's when we originally connected. But it was just amazing. So what I'm trying to get at is you've been doing this stuff for a long time. You have a cult.
10 years, I think.
It's a cult following doing events.
Yes.
So how do you get involved in that? And you give me some breakdowns about what it takes to really plan out the perfect event.
The way that I got started with events was Joe Cabalas. I have to give credit to Joe.
Okay.
Because I used to go to the Westchester Business Connection networking events. And I just went. I don't even know how I got there. Well, I went, and I remember Joe Cabalas was like, "You're amazing. Your personality's great. You just light up a room. You got to come work for us." and I started working for Westchester Business Connection. And then my friend back then, whose friend I'm friends with now, Michelle Matafare from a Savoir, Faire, said, "You were great. I want you to, come work with me, come work for me."
Right.
And I started to work for Michelle. And her and I were both alpha females, so we were like, I don't know if this is going to really go. But
right.
so that's how I was in. This is probably prior to 10 years. And I remember I had a taste of what it was for the event planning and to do the networking and to be involved with everybody. And I remember back then, about 10 years ago, I had said to my son, I had said to him, I go, Guy, and my son Guy passed away 6 years ago. And I remember back 10 years ago, I said to him, Guy, I really want to do this. Like, I want to do my own. And I remember he was young back then, and he was like, I guess he was probably about 17. And we were in Miami. I was with all my kids, and I was talking to him. And I said, I really want to do this. And we were at this one place called Mangoes, and they had the sexy girls dancing on the bars. Now, it was in the afternoon, so they would dress like cats. They had all cat suits on, like leopard from head to toe with tails. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to do this. So my son Guy said, Mom, I'll help you. And he was 17 at the time. I was like, you know what? We're going to do this. So we wind up doing one at the World Bar. Was the first one that I think I did with my son Guy, and we did an event. And I remember he was a bouncer because he was really big then. So now he's maybe like 18 now. He was a big kid, so he stayed at the bouncer because he thought that I would be drawing in all old people. Because, he's 18.
Right,
I was
right.
40s back then. So he would be like, okay, you have all your old friends, and I'll be outside making sure there's no trouble. I says, okay. But then when he saw the beautiful women at 40 years old coming in, I remember he came to me and said, Ma, I'm not going to stay outside anymore. I want to be inside with these women.
Yeah, right.
So I remember that. Then he started being part of the socializing part. He stayed more inside, the next event. And that's how I started doing it. And the reason why I started it and my son Guy was so involved is because when my kids were younger, I was the kid coordinator for the Halloween parties, for the Easter Bunny.
Okay.
For the Christmas, for the Santa Claus. I was always the one that would coordinate. We lived in townhouse development. I would coordinate at the clubhouse for all the young kids to do the parade around the clubhouse and to do the Easter Bunny was coming. You do pictures, the Christmas picture. And then what happened was my kids got older. And they were like, we don't want to go to see the Easter Bunny anymore. We're like 15 now, Ma. we don't want to go around the Halloween parades.
Right.
Back then they threw eggs around. They were like, we want to throw eggs, eggs and shaving
Toilet
cream.
paper people, yeah.
So I lost like that whole party thing for a few years. And then when I was talking to my son Guy, he was like, he was so good at it when we were younger. Just do it for the old people now.
Right.
And that's how I started Events by Tia Maria. When my son passed away 6 years ago, and he had helped me after that at all my events. He did the toys for tots, where he would go around to all the places and put the boxes at the gyms, the drugstores, and that all the restaurants and the diners. And then he would go get all the toys and bring them for Toys for Tots, and we would do charity events, and we would put them around the tree. He would pick them all up and deliver them.
Wow.
So that's how we got so involved with Toys for Tots. And when he passed away 6 years ago, I was going to end everything. I was just going to stop. And I said to myself, why should I stop? I should do this every year in memory of him. Because he started this. And that's how I have Toys for Tots. My next one's going to be December 6th. At the venue in Yonkers.
Which looks amazing, by the way.
Yeah. And I collaborated with Lenny to do that from Zaz Radio.
Okay.
So, that's going to be great so far.
Yeah, very cool. So, but you've done a lot of different featured events in a lot of different locations. Like, you're doing stuff in Florida, right? There's things kicking up in Florida now. Right? You've been in New York City. You've been in White Plains. You've been like I feel like these are all over the place. It's not like you're just
I'm in New Jersey. I'll be there Friday night. I'll be in Fort Lee.
Wow.
I'm in Delray, Florida. We do amazing in there. We got such a great following. I'm at the Coliseum in White Plains. I'm in Yonkers.
Wow.
And I'm at in Yonkers. I'm going to be at the venue. I have the Time Hotel, which is in Nyack in Rockland County.
Yep.
So I guess I am all over the place.
It really is all over. So what do you think, like, give me a little bit of the stress. Okay, let's just start from the beginning on an event and say, let's just give us an example that we can work through. Let's say February is Valentine's season. We're talking about building an event for that. What's the first thing that you do? What's the first thing on your chore list to get ready for that?
For February, I would look at a venue.
Okay.
What venue I'd be like to be working with, and then also what I've been doing more so now than I've ever done before is I'm looking to see what other events are going on, because in the past few years, everybody and their mother is doing an event. You got all these DJs coming out doing it. You have restaurants doing it. You have venues doing it. You have catering halls. You have nightclubs. Everybody's doing an event.
Right.
So what I try to do is look to see when there aren't any other events going on. And then I will pick a day, and then I will set it up with the venue, get the DJ or whatever act I have, coordinate my dances, my videographer, my photographer.
So that talent is number 2 on your list then?
What's that?
That talent is number 2 on your list.
The talent, yes, would be
so first we get the venue,
list, yes.
And then we get the talent.
We're working on Sinatra. My Sinatra night. I'm hoping that we have it all set, that we're going to be doing it in May. I think the May 10th we're going to be doing that. But right now, I got the place. It's at the Coliseum. I just coordinating it right now with the Sinatra. So he's making sure that his schedule is open. He's able to do it. So until then, until I have all the pieces together for the puzzle, then I'll put it out.
Makes sense. And there's the decorating part that goes into it, the theme, whole aspect of all of it that gets built into it.
We do colors, so that it's funny because people will call me if I don't have a theme, like a color theme. They'll call me and say, "What should we wear?" And I honestly, the reason why I do color themes is I do not like when you're taking pictures and everybody's got a different color on. Somebody's got leopard, somebody's got green, somebody's got stripes, somebody's got white. It's like, looks like a big mess. So I do color coordinated, like on December 6th at the venue in Yonkers, I have red or white. Yeah. You could wear either one. It's candy canes and cocktails. So either wear red and white. I think it'll look nice in pictures. Red and white, outfits.
Right.
And the men could wear anything. You know how the men are. Anything that they come in. It's usually the women that like it to be dressed up.
But you have rules. I've known you for a little while.
Rules.
Guys, you cannot show up to an event. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You better not show up in shorts if it's like an indoor venue. Don't wear sandals. Like, you got to really put some effort into dressing up.
Like the men. Who doesn't want to see a man in a jacket?
Right. It's classy and dressed up a little bit. Right.
You can wear a t-shirt underneath it. That's dressing it down.
Yep.
But how many times can you go out unless you're going to a funeral or a wedding? Can you wear a jacket?
True.
The other place would be funeral, wedding, or Tia's events.
There you go. 3 main things. That's very cool. Okay, so you have a heck of a system that's involved with setting up events, and I know that's part of you just being really an amazing networking kind of person. Like I know a lot of other people that know you too, and everyone brags about just the light that you bring to the event, the personality that you have. So people come to you very naturally, I think, because of the way you present yourself. To be your friend, want to get involved, work with you, talk business stuff with you, I think that's a very cool quality.
Well, everybody knows how I'm very much about women, empowering women.
Right.
I've always been like this my whole life, but I'm even more so now as I get older, because now I see the younger kids, like the younger people. When I say younger, 30s and 40s, and I just want to show them how women of our age, or my ages in 50s, how we can empower all ages.
Right. So networking is a big piece of that for you, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I don't know. If you follow Tia on Facebook, then you know that she's constantly promoting and marketing her friends, people that she likes, women business owners. Like, it's pretty amazing. Talk to me a little bit about networking and like the real key pieces of that for you and why you think that's so important.
Well, like I've said, I've always been like this. This isn't something that I just recently started doing, the past 2 years.
Right.
I have been like this since I was 18 years old. Like, just to go back to when I was younger and I had my clothing store. Perfect example was I had the clothing, and my sister-in-law had the shoe store.
Oh,
so
okay.
we would bounce customers off each other. So like I would say, okay, here's your outfit. Now go to Bernadette's and get the shoes. So I've done it at such a young age to like coordinate things. And she had her own business, shoe store, had mine clothing store. So I learned it at a very young age. And then my brother had a restaurant. So people that we would dress up, that would buy outfits from me, get shoes from my sister-in-law. My brother had a restaurant. So if you would, you needed an outfit for a special occasion, we would refer you to go to my brother's restaurant and have dinner. So, we did it so much that it just became of who I am and what I do. But now what I do is, and it's very important, I do promote a lot of people, but I have to either experience, I have to meet you, I have to test out your product, I have to do your product, or you know what I mean, do whatever service that you have.
Right.
I myself have to use it, such as my friend Mary Ramos with the Without a Slice. She has all of the contouring and shaping machines for your body.
Right,
I've been going to Mary for 6 months now. So I've been promoting her for the past maybe four months because I wanted to try it and see if it worked. I'm not going to make people go on my word, try something, spend money, and it doesn't work. I want you to come back and say, wow, Mary's amazing. It worked. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I do my same thing with my Botox and my fillers and stuff. I go to a specific person. I go to Lenora. So, if I know that it hurts or she doesn't do a good job or what, I won't refer her. She does an amazing job on me, so I refer her. And I could go on with all of my networking that I have. But like I said, I've been doing this for so long. To me, it's like when you say, oh, I'm such a great networker or I promote other people's businesses, I don't look at it as something that I do that you notice and recognize me for. I just feel like that is who I've always been.
Yeah.
Since I'm at
Which
such
is
a
very
young
cool,
age.
though.
It's
I mean,
just,
it is above and beyond what most people do, right? I mean, all the things you mentioned.
Like I said, and I'm going to repeat myself again, I didn't become this person in 2 years. I always was this person. It's just that whoever I'm involved now is getting to see that side of me.
Right. No, that makes sense, and that's what's unique about you too as a person. It's a really strong personality trait because you could go on and
a bit abrasive at times.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like it's really important that you do that because
if you don't like me, you don't like how I am and how I operate and how I dress or what I say or how I talk, just unfriend me.
just go away. Yeah,
I'm too old. If I lose a friend, I'll make another. If I lose, somebody, I'll make another friend.
I've actually been using that line. It's a hard thing for me. I'm still trying to get that thick skin in my world.
Yeah.
But I'm at the point now where I'm able to tell people directly, like, if you don't want to be my friend, if you don't want to work with me, if you don't want to be involved, like it's no big deal. Yeah, just go away. Like there's more people.
Yeah, you never got to see me again. And you know what? It's so funny is that a lot of people I have blocked as well, unfortunately, and I've been blocked by people.
Right.
And you know what? I don't want to know what you're doing, honestly.
Right.
And you know what's the sad part? So many people will screenshot what they're doing and sending it to me, and I'm like, I really don't want to see this.
Like, I don't care. It makes sense just to stay away from all that stuff.
And you know what? It's just that part will never go away. You know what I mean? It's just because that's just.
Well, I love that part about you because I think about everybody else that has a day-to-day schedule, right? Going to work, doing these other things that you're doing to, for beauty and for health and whatever. No one else is kind of bragging them up like, hey, I went and got a haircut, but I'm not the person who's going to brag up my barber every time I'm in there because they do an amazing job. You have that personality trait where you give back to those people that are taking, like, part of your life, which is so unique. Like, not everyone does that. People will
That's what I
complain
said.
about
Like, it's
negative
not
stuff, but
something
you're
that I've
promoting
learned
all of
or
it.
I've become. I've been doing this since I'm 18.
Yeah.
I've been referring people, even like back in the day. I forgot a little section of my life that I forgot to say. But for about 3 years, I worked at a bridal salon, and it was called Justine's Bridal Salon. And I dressed
Okay.
so many girls that are my friends today. 30
Wow.
years ago, it was Justine's Bridal Salon. It was located in Westchester Avenue in the Bronx, and I always had the brides that wanted only me to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the most stunning, sexiest, no matter what size they were. They could have been a size 2 or a size 20. I had the most beautiful brides. And back then, same thing. I would refer their makeup. I would refer them where to go get flowers. I would refer them where to go get the video. I
Yep.
did it back then too. So
Right.
again, it's just who I am. I think that when I get older, maybe in my 70s and 80s, if I don't have anybody to refer, like, what would I do? you know? So I got to keep very active when I get old.
That's
in my old
understandable.
age.
Well, you're collecting a lot of great people that
I'll be promoting nursing homes. medical talk.
That's amazing. That's crazy. It's probably the case too. That's pretty funny. Hopefully, other brands that we have in our lives at the moment will still be around then too, so you can promote those people.
That's true.
So Savoir Faire, if you don't know, it's hard to pronounce, and we're trying to do a lot to brand this name.
Savoir Faire.
Savoir Faire. It's French.
Yes,
I
know that.
Yep, it's French, and it means well spoken. That's the definition of the word.
Wow.
So I think that savoir faire is very similar to confidence, and having those two things go hand in hand, and we've kind of like completely rebranded our brand to kind of take on those things. And that's one of the reasons why, we invited you to come on and be a guest for the podcast, because I think you're very savoir faire and confident in who you are. And when you walk into the room, people know who you are, they recognize you, and you have some kind of, we don't want to call it a superpower, but you just have this incredible kind of aura that comes around. So I want to dig into that stuff a little bit, because that's important for my audience, and it's important for my brand to know that, like, these are the people that we're getting advice from, people that really do have these qualities. So give me a point in, like, let's talk about confidence first. You've always had success with business. You've done a lot of things in business. You've always been a good networker. You've always been an outgoing and friendly person. Never really seen you kind of shy away from anything. Where do you think that comes from, that backbone, that confidence that allows you to go out there and just get stuff done? Is it just work ethic, you think, or is it something else?
Well, I do think it's work ethic that my family put into me. Like I said, I was always exposed to people working 24/7, because when you have your own business, it's not 9 to 5. It's 24/7. Right. So I've always been around that. And I'm very fortunate that, I come from money, and my family did and does very well. Mm-hmm. And I was fortunate with that, and I was always confident that whatever I chose to do, I always had my parents backing. And when I say backing, their support, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They really encouraged me to do whatever I wanted, and knew at a young age, they didn't even question anything that I wanted to do. They never questioned it. And I also give a lot of credit to my brother, and I wish, hopefully, if my brother's watching this, listening to this when you do air it, my brother Cosmo, he played a huge part in my life, as I just looked up to him as just like God sometimes. Like, he had several businesses, and he worked hard. He had material things. He was a great guy. He was able to give so many people jobs, and he really worked his butt off. And he would always, at a young age, say to me, "You're so good at what you're so good at," like, back then, I guess I was shopping and I dressed well. At a young age, he always used to say that you would do great in that. You would do great, having your own store. He put that seed in my mind. Yeah. And I guess because I knew that he was confident, and he was 10 years older than me, so he was 27. I had my father and mother that didn't question me at all,
Right.
knew that I was confident enough to say, "Hey, I want to do a clothing store." And back
awesome.
then, I took out. My father's a very wealthy man back then, and I took a loan out from my father to do a clothing store. And I don't know if people saw this on my Facebook Live, some of the shows that I did when I was interviewed, but I had to pay my father that back, and I paid my father a very big loan in 1 year. By the time I was 19, I had no loan, no loan at all. And luckily he gave it back to me, thank goodness, because I just couldn't understand why. And I used to question in my head, not verbally, why would this man want my money when he's got so much of his own? Why would you want my measly little amount when you have so much?
Yep.
But he was trying to prove a point.
It was a lesson.
And his point was, you have confidence and you have determination and you want to do something. You took out a loan. You got to make sure that you pay that loan off.
Right.
And you got to be confident enough that your idea is going to work. And if it doesn't work, you make it work.
Yep.
And he made me pay him, monthly. And at the end of the year that I paid him off, he gave it back to me. And, it was great because I went out, I'll never forget, I went out and I bought Cash, a Riviera back then. And I went on the showroom out there, and I was only like 19. And I was like, I want that car. I'm paying cash. It was amazing.
Right.
So confidence has to come a lot from your childhood. If you're constantly being told, no, you can't do it, you're not good enough, that's really not good for you. Even my children, like the way that I raised them, I always raised them like, whatever you want to do, you do. And, mom's got your back, and even their dad's amazing. My ex-husband, we got your back no matter what it is. Whatever you want to do, and you're confident that it's going to work, we're behind you. We're there to support you.
Yeah.
Not only financially, but, mentally. So I have to credit a lot to my family. I have to say that,
Yep.
And hopefully a lot of people that are listening to this that do have young children, always encourage them and give them the confidence.
Absolutely.
Tell them they're beautiful, and, tell them that they're smart and that they could do anything they want. It's so sad sometimes when I hear some of these people that, do become famous or whatever, and say they had such a bad childhood, or and it's like, it's just so sad, because it could have been a lot easier if you had support and love and confidence and be in the same place that you are today, other than describing that you had a bad childhood,
right,
but yet a successful adulthood.
Right.
So
your confidence
too. And also I'm an Aries. So Aries are confident to begin with.
But your confidence came from having
I'm sure it's a time when the zodiac signs are on your side.
Okay, so your confidence, like to sum up your basics of that, it really came from knowing that no matter what you wanted to do, you had a really strong support network.
Absolutely.
You had your parents, you had your brother. It's okay. You had your brother as an example, someone you looked up to that you wanted to be like. You had your parents who were constantly telling you whatever you want to do to you. You have our support. You can just go out and do this. We'll help you get it done. I think it's awesome for parenting. That makes sense. Now, for those people that don't have, there was a little bit of money in your family when you were a teenager, but I don't think that's what made you.
No.
But those people that don't have that.
My family had money, but we had to work.
Right.
At 18, we had to work to get the things that we wanted, Well,
it wasn't your dad worked his butt off to have that foundation for his family.
Yes.
That's the credit right there. Like, what was your dad before the restaurant and the real estate and all that? Like, he came up from something, right, too? So
no, same thing. His father owned a restaurant.
Okay, so he learned that industry from his dad.
My father owned a restaurant in Manhattan, and then my father winds up buying, when my grandfather got sick, my father winds up buying his property, his building.
Okay.
Even though it was
right.
obviously going to be left to him too, but my grandfather had, I think, a relative that back then was a partner. So my father bought them out, and my father, has that's one of the properties that we have on the east side.
Yep. Okay, very cool.
It stems back to my grandfather. And my cousin also, a cousin of mine, it's my age, has a restaurant in Long Island called Dotice. And they have my grandfather's picture that was in his restaurant, 100 years ago in his restaurant because, my brother and my father and them knew I didn't get a chance to know my grandfather, but they did.
Yeah.
So just like my father was the example and my brother was an example, my grandfather was an example to them. So my father owned a restaurant just like his father did.
Yeah, very
since
cool.
he was probably 18.
Yep. So
and that's why he retired at 51. He was like, I'm done.
Your dad did exactly what I want to do. So I'm not that old at all. I got another 10, 11 years or so before I'm going to hit my 50th birthday. But when I get there, my whole goal was that's retirement for me. I want to get to the point where I know I've built an amazing foundation where my kids can do whatever the heck they want with themselves. If they want to go into the military, go to college, do a trade school, start their own business, whatever the case is, I'll be able to give them that support financially. And
hopefully you're not going to be retiring in 2 years because I still need you.
Well, yeah, at least 10 years, at least 10. My goal, and I tell a lot of people this, and it's really just, I think you have to set goals to be able to reach certain points in life. But my goal is to retire at 50 and move someplace where it's very tropical. That's what I want. I don't know if it's going to be Florida. Honestly, I've been telling everyone I'm going to go to Bora Bora. And I'm going to build a resort there, and the only people that can come visit me are family and friends, unless they're renting a room. So my retirement business hopefully is some tropical paradise where I can just kind of relax and, run something fun. But, I love what I do. I don't know. Maybe I'll do this until it's my time to go. I just have no idea. So, but it's unique. Confidence is a big thing to me, and definitely with the brand. I like the idea that we talked about a very strong support network being behind you. But for those people that feel like they don't have confidence because not having a support network, you can actually give yourself confidence. There's still ways that you can be a confident person and learn from those things. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to implement with some other things I'm doing with my brand, is to give everyone that ability.
Thing is actually to surround yourself with positive people.
Oh, absolutely.
And people that will lift you up, and you know what I mean?
Yep.
No drama, don't be around drama.
That's a huge piece.
Bad karma.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like, because Tia also has Live with Tia on Facebook Live, your show, and we've networked so much together. I feel like I know everyone pretty much face-to-face, met almost a lot of people that have been on your show, but I feel like my name gets dropped constantly because we do a lot of work with the same people.
Yes.
And everyone's like, oh, Robert's the guy, Robert's the guy.
Shouting you out.
Yeah, so I love it.
A lot of people are excited that you're going to be coming December 1st to my expo.
Yeah, so let's jump onto that, and let's talk about the 6th, and then we'll tell people where they can find you. So on the 1st, there is a holiday expo. Go ahead and give me some information about that.
Okay, that is going to be held on Sunday, December 1st, between 12 and 6. That's going to be at the Coliseum in White Plains on South Broadway. It is going to be, right now I have 38 vendors, and it keeps on growing.
That's amazing.
We have so many people coming. At the top of my head, we have Sawarsky, we have Road and Fields, we have an ice sculpture gentleman coming. We have Robert with his web page. We have Without a Slice with her machines. We have Opulent Aesthetics. Elizabeth from Exquisite Cakes.
Wow.
The list just goes on and on. I have Fashions by Tia Maria, which is my jewelry that'll be there. And it's going to be 38 vendors with fashions and merchandise and services.
It's free to get into, right?
It's a good place. It's a good time for people to come and do their Christmas or Hanukkah shopping.
Yep.
And it's going to be, we'll have music to shop by. You can also buy lunch there, and you can also get liquor. The bar will be open.
Very cool. And it's absolutely free to get in.
It's free to get in, yes.
Yep. Just get in there and shop like a fiend. You get Christmas gifts. Drop. Absolutely. So that's on December 1st. Then December 6th, you have a cool event happening.
Yes. That's going to be the Candy Canes and Cocktails. That's going to be the charity event for Toys for Tots.
Yep.
I'm collaborating with Lenny Santawasso, who is also going to be our DJ Lenny, on the mix. that is going to be with zazzradio.com. And
Perfect.
that is going to be, I do this once a year. I'm collaborating this year with Lenny. I do this in memory of my son, Guy. Like I said, because 10 years ago, he did create Toys for Tots. And I just continue with this each year.
Mm-hmm.
And starting this week at the venue, the Christmas tree is up. So people are going to be able to drop off toys that they might have, that they have. They could drop it off there and put it under the tree. So that's going to start, I think, on Friday. I have a whole bunch of toys that people have been dropping off to me. So I have them and I'll be dropping them off on Friday. And that's going to be at the venue on Tuckahoe Road in Yonkers at the Royal Regency Hotel.
Very nice.
It's an absolutely beautiful venue. We have over 20 sponsors on the banner, and we're going to have the candy cane dressed up dancers.
Sounds sexy.
We're going to have the video. I have a videographer and my photographer, which is Greg Mack, and it's going to be dancing all night long.
Yeah, it sounds like a great time. And so, if you want to meet Tia and you live in New York City, you need to get out to that event in Yonkers or go up to White Plains and check out the shopping expo. And if you want to meet me, you can go to either of those events and meet me as well, because I'll be at both of them. I'll be down in the city for that whole week, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to fill in the 4 days in between, but I know that I'm going to go and support my friends and see if I can scrape up a little business with my marketing agency. So I'm excited about those opportunities. That's going to be a fun week for everybody, I think.
People can't wait to meet you because they always want to put like the face with a name.
Yeah.
So they've seen your name so much around and us, always shouting you out. So a lot of people cannot wait to meet you. So that's going to be fun for you as well.
Yeah,
as them.
That would be exciting. I'm always down with meeting new people.
Shy sometimes when you meet you with, right?
Well, you know what? I'm
more talkative over the phone.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm still on the confidence scale, a little low on the confidence scale. So what happens with me is, is
that why you asked that question?
It's kind of that way, but no, I'm learning myself, and as I'm learning, I'm telling other people what I'm learning, right? So I'm teaching people about confidence on social media and in the dating world and at work and all these different things, like tricks that I've figured out for myself that actually work and kind of take some. I wasn't always a confident kid. I was very quiet when I was younger and stayed to myself, but recently I'm very, very vocal and more open about everything. I mean, I have brands that are getting national recognition now. I kind of have to be out there in the public eye.
Well, something that comes to my mind when I think about you, and I just think about confidence, I remember you are the type of, you, Robert White, are behind the scenes. Like, you are the web designer. You're the one that does the flyers. Nobody really sees you because you are usually in your office doing your work and giving it to people. Yeah. You're not out there selling your products like on the at events or anything. And I remember the first time you did come to my event, you had a t-shirt on. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember.
And you came there and he looked handsome and he had not like an undershirt,
that was my stylist that hooked me up that time.
Dress pants.
That was it was G Valentine, or Gina Valentine, makeup artist. She was a model that actually worked with me at the time, and I messaged her and said, what should I wear to this thing? And she was like, wear jeans and a black shirt. And so I did everything I could.
You had a black shirt on, you had black pants. You looked cute. But I said to you, I never forget, I said, next time when you come, wear a jacket.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember you had called me or something, or you sent me a picture and you said, I love buying jackets now. Like, you know what I mean? There's a couple of jackets that I'm going to get for the next upcoming events. Yeah. And then I remember the next time I saw you, you were in a suit. And you looked amazing. I remember you met Dean Kapnick.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, Dean's a good guy.
And you were dressed so handsome. And I think that that look was, you were more confident in that suit than you were in that t-shirt.
Yeah.
So it is a lot of how you present yourself to people. Now, you don't need to wear a suit when you go to work because, again, you're behind the scenes.
True.
But ever since then, and that we're talking 6 years ago, I don't think I've ever seen you without a suit on.
My day-to-day life is literally that way. I think it's a switch, and I tell a lot of people this too. When I'm at home, my small town in upstate New York, I'm just casual. You know, there's 10,000 people here.
Downtime,
Everyone knows who I am, whatever. I go back and forth between my home and my office and do work nonstop. And then when I go to the city, though, or I'm in that direction, it's kind of like, hey, like I am the owner of this brand, and I need to represent that. So putting that coat on, getting out to those events, making my appearances. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right. So
and you have to.
That's another thing to say. When somebody doesn't have the confidence or the childhood somewhat like that I had, you know what? Dress for confidence.
Yeah.
Dress that when you're dressed up and you had a bad childhood, you know what? Just forget it and look at yourself and just say, I look fabulous. I feel great.
Yep.
And I want to meet people.
Absolutely. And people will come around you when you walk in there with your back straight and a little bit of confidence in the room. You're dressed well. Like, people want to know who you are. I think it's just a natural thing.
And it's funny because another thing you just said, I have a friend of mine, absolutely gorgeous she is. She has the worst posture in the world. She walks in a room, she looks like an old lady. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I said, you are stunning. Put your shoulders back, boobs out. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know, get that slouch on your stomach. You can see now how she poses. She looks like $1 million.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So, but you know what it is? There's a lot of people that like me, I think I just have the balls to say something to somebody. It's maybe the way I say it. I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm saying it to help you. So, You know what I mean? But I guess, some people might think it might be abrasive if I say something like that. But others, 99% of the time, people listen to me and they get a great outcome at the end.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I love the confidence aspect of being able to dress up and be somebody else. What I've learned, and this is kind of giving some stuff away, is that it's a character that you play, right? I mean, Tia Maria Montemurro is an event coordinator and a real estate agent, and there's someone you have to be when you're at work or when you're at events, for sure. Totally different than what you are when you're at home. Mine is the same way. Exactly. If you see me in public in my own town, at the coffee shop, walk into my office, at the grocery store, you're going to see...
You wear a hat?
Actually, no. I used to wear a hat all the time, but I got rid of the hat. But I'm a different person than I am if you see me in New York City. It's like a switch for me. Like when I get to the city and I step off the bus or get out of the car or whatever the case is when I travel down there, like I'm someone else instantly. But the city brings that out of me. It's unique for me that like I come to life in the city because it's so busy and everyone's in a hustle to make money. It's literally what they're all doing because they can't afford to survive there if they don't hustle every day. Like so I see all these people hustling and I'm like, man, there's so much money here. I want a piece of it. And I just get motivated and get confident and I just go for it. So the city is a big piece for me, which is, someday I need to relocate there, honestly, just so I can have that feeling every day. But well, let's talk about where people can find you, do a little bragging about, social media and your website. So the website the main one for you is eventsbytiamaria.com.
Correct.
Yep, everyone can go there and see the event stuff, lots of photos from different people from different events, all that good stuff.
And that is 100% run by Robert White.
Yeah, my marketing company.
The only thing I tell you is every now and then I'll tell you what pictures to go in, and I'll tell you to take down my flyer and put it in a new flyer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Otherwise, we have fun with that, though.
Full control.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And we have a good time with that website, too. I like putting stuff up there and seeing. I don't even go to all the events, but I get to see all the photos from them. Actually, I get to see Tia's pics, the ones that she actually picks for the events. They need to go on the website. She's very selective about that, too. So that's very cool to see all that behind-the-scenes material. Then Facebook. You have Facebook, Instagram. What else is there?
That's it.
Okay, so Facebook and Instagram is Events by Tia Maria or Tia Maria Montemurro if you're trying to connect with her directly and get some stuff organized.
I don't have Twitter. I don't have, what else is there?
Anything else? Snapchat?
I don't have
TikTok?
Nope. I don't have anything else. I have Instagram. I have Events by Tia Maria. That's it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you guys can find her.
Give me something else, Robert.
You let me know what you want. We'll build it. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to hang out and talk with us. I really appreciate it. We racked up an hour. We did pretty good.
Wow, thank you so much. And if anybody like you said, just go on my Facebook. I'm constantly posting where I am, that weekend or what's going on that weekend that maybe I'm not going to, I'll usually post it as well.
Very cool. All right. I love you, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Robert, and you are wonderful. And again, thank you so much for helping me with Events by Tia Maria for the past 6 years. You have been nothing but a trustworthy, fantastic, always answering your phone, my panic questions that I have when I call you, I'm panicking, and you calm me down, and you usually resolve it. And I thank you so much for that, too.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for that.
And
It's very nice.
in my eyes, you're highly recommended.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk soon.
Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on December 1st at my expo.
See you there. Thanks.
Bye, Robert.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the show. Please take a minute to head over to www.savoir.com and subscribe to our publication.